Welcome into the latest episode of Before Floor, an extension of Five on the Floor. This is your pregame show getting you ready for the Atlanta Hawks at Miami Heat. Ethan is currently stuck in traffic, so he's not going to make it. So I'm running point guard on the show. Luckily, I played point guard in high school, so I should be able to be up for the challenge. We are brought to you by Biscayne Bay Brewing, the official brew of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. It looks like the Miami Heat by some of the tweets I've seen. They are everywhere, and it is awesome to see them grow locally. So support Biscayne Bay Brewing, the official craft beer of Miami and the official beer of 5 Reasons Sports. So our panel for pregame, we have our fearless producer, Alejandro. We have Alex sliding in the dark, in the shadow.
Yes, sir. You glow in the dark.
Scary hours with Alex sliding in, but Brady Hall is on time. He is directly to, I guess, what will be your right. Directly below me is Ricky J. Mark, and we have Jonathan Ramlakan down below as well. So, fellas, we have a 2-game set against Atlanta. This is the second game. Jimmy is out. I think we all expect that the Heat should get this one. They've been on a good streak. So I'm gonna start here, and I'll let any of you jump in. So free for all. Poke holes on why Miami's not going to be able to get 2 from Atlanta right now.
Trae Young. You know, if Trae Young's able to adapt to the look that Spo gave him, and having this 2-game set. It's going to be interesting to see if it's something that the Hawks coaching system does, given that they fired Lloyd Pierce. So I think if Trae Young can have a little more of a game like he's been having the entire season, I think that can be a threat to Miami. We've seen even without him having that type of game, they were able to tie the game up. So if he's able to break out and have a good game and we're not able to contain, a John Collins or another secondary player, I think Trae Young could be the difference that makes us lose this game if we don't hold him down.
Yeah, that's one.
Something I want to hit on, and Ricky, I'm going to go to you with this because, one, I think it was pretty downright despicable the way that Lloyd Pierce was released from his coaching duties in Atlanta. One, so I'd love to hear your perspective there. But two, usually, you know what this actually does from a pure basketball perspective? Take away the context of that being a tenuous situation from an HR perspective. From a pure basketball perspective, usually teams respond to these interim coaches or a coach that comes out of nowhere and they kind of band behind them. I think that's something to look out for with this Hawks team tonight, a little bit of extra energy. So, Ricky, I'd like to hear your perspective on that and also just the whole coaching fiasco in Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the thing, you basically explained why I think this could be dangerous for Miami. These kind of games are trap games. And as you said, players tend to respond, at least for the first game or two, to coaches being fired. But this situation regarding Lloyd Pierce, I know it's documented in at the Athletic that apparently there were some issues between the coach and Trae Young. But the reality is, if the ownership of this team made this decision based on the team's success after the first few games, it's a bit unfair because when you consider that Rondo has missed 16 games, Dunn has missed pretty much the entire season. Bogdanovich, I think that's his name, how it's pronounced. He's missed 25 games. Gallo's missed 10 games. And their first round pick, I don't think has even played yet. So for a team that it was hoping to make the playoffs as an 8th seed, you're talking about missing a good chunk of your free agency just right off the bat. It's unfair. And the thing is, and I know we've talked about it before, I don't mind bringing it up again. When it comes to coaches that look like Lloyd Pierce, the leash seems a little bit tighter for some reason. Other guys, I remember Tim Floyd got a season and a half, 2 seasons of just straight up mediocrity, and then they finally let him go. But Lloyd Pierce, yeah, it's his 3rd season, and they finally have a reasonably good team. Before you count injuries, they fire him. I'm just glad that they didn't have a guy lined up the day they fired him, like we saw in Minnesota. It's an assistant, Nate McMillan, who has a history of coaching and playing in this league.
I feel bad for Lloyd Pierce. I heard some of the buildup. You would hear it on some podcasts, like reporters kind of giving out that perspective. Oh, the Hawks owners have, playoff expectations this year. And you keep hearing that, and it's a familiar tone. It's like, yeah, if you don't get on this pace, the coach is on the hot seat. And I think that's kind of what happened. I obviously don't have any inside information, but I kind of do feel bad for Lloyd Pierce. And like Ricky was saying, like they've been missing guys that are supposed to be big parts of their rotation, and big parts of their core. So I do feel kind of bad for him.
Yeah, I think this season should have been a mulligan, if anything, especially considering COVID. Everybody's hurting. If you want to fire Lloyd Pierce, let him go in the offseason whether or not you make the playoffs. But to do it with the Hawks, I think 2 games out of the 8th spot in the Eastern Conference, I mean, you're asking for trouble at this point. I'm not sure what they're doing. Maybe there's something we'll find out later, but this is a bad time for a team this close to the playoffs.
And there's never a bad time for hope trafficking. So let's talk about how good John Collins looked in the last matchup against Miami. He looked like a player that would fit mighty nice next to Bam Adebayo. I'm interested to hear, Brady, I'm going to go to you here. What adjustments can Miami make, if any, to slow down John Collins? I mean, he basically got what he wanted to get. He played very well, made very few mistakes. He was good as he is. Do you think it's just increased effort, or what do you think from them schematically they can do differently?
Well, honestly, I think they're just going to continue to do what they did and allow John Collins those looks, because the reasons he was getting those shots at the free throw line and those other ones is because the defense they were playing was just taking Trae Young out of the offense. So I think I think we might see it again. I think they're just going to live with John Collins scoring, and they're going to take Trae Young out again, even though it's going to be harder, obviously playing them in a back-to-back. Even Spoelstra mentioned that it's a lot different when an interim head coach comes in, like you guys were saying. He knows the energy is going to change. But I think you live with John Collins scoring, taking those free throw jumpers over Trae Young, getting one-on-ones off a pick and roll.
Yo, Alex, why are you rolling your eyes?
It's not true. I'm glad you went to me, because it's just not true. I was actually rolling my eyes at some of the comments here. At Adam misspelling Palpatine in the comments really disappointed me. He knows I'm a big Star Wars guy. He didn't even spell it right. That's bad.
Palpatine? Oh,
yeah.
That's who he was talking about?
Yeah. That's what bothered me there.
Anyway, so moving right along to more important topics, because I don't know what the hell y'all are talking about right now. So,
a big Star Wars guy?
Not particularly. It's just not my deal. So let's talk a little bit about Precious and the impression that he made in the last game. And coming off the DMP, and I'm interested to hear if you guys think that this is something that he can build upon. Was this like an isolated incident with him? Jonathan, I'll go to you. Do you think that there is a spot for him in the regular rotation, or when Spo is like deciding on 9, is Precious just out of that mix?
No, he definitely has a spot on this team. He's an instant boost of energy. He came in yesterday. He had more offensive rebounds than he did defensive rebounds. So he's going to get you extra possessions. He always puts himself in the right spot to be found, and he has a good, pump fake and finish around the rim. So even if it comes late playoff time, I feel like he's a good energy guy that can still, give you those minutes to at least spark something in that front court when Bam's not on the court.
Yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense. Are we going to see Max Strus tonight? Anybody in for a Max Strus night, or no? Is it Gabe Vincent? Gabe Vincent was the flavor of the night last time, right?
Yeah, you got to reward him for that. He played great last game.
Yeah, the defense, right? Is that coming around now?
He said he's been watching film on Avery Bradley. Yeah.
That's it.
That's not a bad guy to watch.
Avery Bradley.
At least he's contributing somehow, right?
He was watching Avery Bradley clips. He said it before the season even started, that he was watching it before Avery Bradley even joined the team. So that was like a guy he's watched even when he was just around the league.
That's very interesting. So let's go around here. I mean, I don't know how much more we have to unpack. Does anyone have anything that we haven't touched on as it relates to Hawks Heat? Any recent transactional talk? I don't know that anything really has popped off recently.
Harrison Barnes?
You know what? There has been one. Yeah. Thank you, Alex. So Zach Lowe brought up like how Harrison Barnes would be such a perfect fit. And I want to do a podcast on this, so I'm not going to go delve too deep on this, because the more that I look around the East and I think about how close the Heat are, I actually think that Harrison Barnes, if you plan on extending Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson, maybe kind of like the perfect fit on this team. And I'm interested to hear your guys' perspective there. I still need to do a little bit more research before I'm 100% in on it, but I'll go around the room here. Are any of you guys out on the idea of kind of sacrificing 2021 flexibility, but Harrison Barnes being kind of the upgraded version of Jay Crowder next to Bam in the front court?
Yeah, I don't think you sacrifice that space because the star always happens or tends to come up in the offseason. And if that does happen, we put ourselves in that KD situation where we're trying to get a room with him and we don't have any money to do it. So I like the move if it was a one-year move, but to sacrifice 2021 cap space with how we've been trying to preserve it before, it would make no sense to make that move.
Yeah,
Brady?
I agree.
Or Ricky? No, Ricky.
No, I don't think he's spoken in a while, man. Brady, go ahead, man. Don't let me.
I mean, I said about a month ago, I tweeted out about Harrison Barnes, I think being a good fit for Miami. And I think it's one of those guys I feel like that just sparks a team. I mentioned it before, like you get a guy in there like the Jay Crowder move that just sparks a locker room. A veteran guy, obviously they have Andre Iguodala, but it just, there's a relationship there as well between Iguodala and him. So maybe that could play a part, but I don't know. I think it's a pretty good fit. I think it's a perfect offensive fit when you're looking at the needs. You guys discussed yesterday, basically the Olynyk move down to the bench. And that would be pretty ideal as well. So I think that fit, that guy, the only thing, as Jonathan was mentioning, that does kind of make you think twice. But I do think that's the type of guy, if they're going to do something like that, he's the type of guy you do it for.
So, yeah, I think I don't think as much as I would like a guy like Harrison Barnes on this roster, I'm not sure that he's the player that you pretty much nuke your cap space for. I would be more open to a Rudy Gay type deal. I'm not sure there's too much of a separation between the two. And from what I understand, everyone, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. He expires this offseason, so you get a bit of.
You're right. You're right.
You get a bit of both if you're able to trade for Rudy Gay. So, I don't know. I don't see that working. Also, one more thing. I'll just put it like this. I think it was Michael that said something about Lloyd Pierce's coaching record. Doc Rivers made it to the playoffs his first season as a coach of the Celtics and then missed the playoffs the following 2 seasons.
Lloyd Pierce had a terrible roster. He had terrible rosters the past 2 years.
Right. And the thing is, the Celtics were lottery teams the following 2 years after they made the playoffs that first year. Just imagine how history would have changed if Danny Ainge had fired Doc Rivers in that, like, midway through that third season. You don't get the big three and what happened. Not saying that the Hawks would have been that, but it's too soon. And plus, COVID wasn't a thing that third season.
It's in the NBA, right? Like, owners not giving coaches enough of a leash. And it's just like, if you're constantly dumping coaches and not giving them a chance, like, I understand needing to upgrade if things just never change, but I don't know, man. I feel like there's a constant pattern over the past decade, right?
That it's the worst teams, and that's why, like, when you have LeBron nudging at Riley and saying Spoelstra's not the guy, and he says, "Listen, you can talk about who's going to fly on the plane, and you can talk about if we're going to stay overnight here or there, and maybe we can negotiate some of that. But we are not firing Eric Spoelstra, so take that shit somewhere else." Pardon my French. Like, not every organization does that. They cave, and you find teams that churn out coaches, and that's why they suck.
No, you're right.
So,
I think when you look at these teams that we have now, I mean, the Spurs, the Lakers for a while, the Heat, there's a certain structure where teams are like, no, we're not going to, this is the system. You come join this. And if it's really, really, really bad, then we'll talk about removing the coach. But you're joining us. We're not building this franchise around you in terms of based on what you like. Those are the teams that have won for the most part.
Another question. I'm going in a completely different direction. When you look at this Atlanta roster, like, doesn't it feel cluttered? Like, when they built it, like, didn't they have a blank slate this offseason and they essentially built like this cluttered ass roster? Am I the only one who looks at it and says,
right.
like,
No,
how did they think that they were going to play all these guys and satisfy everybody? Like, it's just bizarre. It's one of the weirdest rosters in the whole league.
in the same positions where they drafted people high.
Yes, it's totally weird.
And then like also now they started to play DeAndre Hunter as a 4-2. So they got DeAndre Hunter there who's playing some minutes there. Gallinari, John Collins. Yo, don't compare me to Palpatine, man. That's messed up. That's messed up.
I mean, if you look at the roster the way it's set up right now, they have 4 point guards, 4 shooting guards, 4 power forwards, 2 small forwards who each could probably play power forward, and 3 centers. The longest tenured players on this team are Rajon Rondo and Danilo Gallinari with 14 and 11 seasons respectively. Everybody else is relatively new here, aside from Tony Snell, and they're all around the same position. So it is cluttered. Maybe they're hoping that they can parlay it into, I don't know, picks or some talented player down the line, but they have to pan out first too, though.
Yeah, it's just weird to allocate so much cap space to guys and just not have the necessary minutes to go around. It just feels weird. It feels like it was almost forced to some degree because we have money to spend. We're going to spend it. Okay, so last thoughts. Anybody got anything on tonight's game, the Heat in general, anything that's been in the comments? I saw some cat kept saying we don't read the comments. I particularly don't read the comments that much. Maybe Ethan is better at that than I am.
The comments.
So I need to be better about that. I'll read comments that are coherent and also on topic. So those are dope. But yeah, if anyone has anything else they want to add.
Does anybody know if the guys who were questionable last game for the Hawks playing this game, like Hunter or any of those guys coming back?
I think Bogdanovich is probable now.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the only one I've heard movement on. Everyone else, I think, is as they were when they were reported at 1:30 or 5:30, whenever the last update was. Jimmy's out. Starters have not been announced.
Okay. I think what Spo likes to do is when he has a guy like Jimmy out, play somebody like Vincent who could play a little bit of defense. And, if he has somebody like Hero, I mean, we haven't missed Duncan, but if you have somebody like Hero out, put a shooter in like Max. So that's a tendency that I've noticed from Spo. So I'm just curious to see if he does that again tonight.
And I think this game is important just because they need to learn to play games that not relying on Jimmy Butler every play. So going through these reps of just maybe Bam taking over, but even though I think he's going to have to increase shot attempts, I think we always say that. But in a game where Butler's not playing, I think he had 10 shot attempts or something last game. So I think that's going to need to go up.
Yeah.
And not relying on Butler, seeing them close games as they did the other night is promising for this team. So I think it's good to go through another game like this.
Hold up. So now I got a couple comments to respond to. One is that Ben says Greg is the point guard that looks down when he dribbles. Damn. No, Dr. Seuss has it right. I'm a point guard who is surveying the floor. I can't look out into the crowd while I'm trying to direct traffic. If you find that comment, thank you very much for defending me there.
Hey, let the center do that. I got it. I used to play center when I was younger. So
maybe there's a point guard directing traffic. I'm coming off.
Run the offense.
Just throw it over. I'll shoot.
Is this another? Is this another game where we just see Kendrick Nunn take over? Like, are we? Should we just start getting used to this? I am
Trae Young guarding him.
Right. That's barbecue chicken as Nikias's favorite TV personality.
Dude, I'm with him on that. Like, I might have to write a piece for the site about that whole situation. That guy, man, an all-time great, but just
he's a friend of the show.
Who's a friend of the show?
Shaq.
Yeah, all right. That doesn't make him any less a bully.
Fair.
And we have the tapes.
Very true.
Like, I don't know, but hey, guess what? I think the Heat are going to win tonight.
There's one. Anybody think the Heat are going to lose? We don't need to go around the table. Let's be efficient at this.
They're losing.
Alex thinks they're going to lose. Really?
It's okay to win 6 in a row and lose. It's all right.
Oh, I know it's all right. I'm going to have to talk many people off the ledge, and they're going to come at me, and they're going to direct their anger at me and channel it at me as if I'm the franchise. Like, it's okay. I can be that figurehead. Just direct it at me, guys. But, Alex, why are they going to lose? Why?
I mean, look, it's been really nice. I just think, this is probably the type of game they lose. It's one we don't see coming, and then people get pissed off because, hey, man, you're throwing me off my rhythm when you do that. I'll get into my Palpatine impersonation and ruin this whole show if you keep doing that. But what do you call it? I just think this is going to be the type of game they blow, and all of a sudden, they're up by 9, and, they kind of almost did it last game, but they stopped it. And maybe this game,
without
that
Jimmy.
part turns
Overall,
around.
they suck. They suck without Jimmy overall.
They're better. I think last game showed that they're better than they were a month ago without Jimmy, so I do feel good about that, right? But I feel good about Goran and Nunn and where they are. I feel good about even Gabe Vincent and Precious, like just having some good games now. I feel good about them in general, but I just could see tonight being that game that they lose.
Brady, the prediction that is going to happen because you're good at this. One prediction that is going to happen, and this is where we close.
Oh man, I mean the safe one now, which was not safe a couple months ago, is Nunn being the most consistent player on the team right now, because that was his one label that wasn't the true part, was that he was inconsistent. You didn't know what you were going to get every night, but now you know what you get from Kendrick Nunn. He's becoming efficient. You know that he's going to be efficient on catch and shoot threes, on driving kicks. You know he's going to take advantage off the dribble at a guy like Trae Young. So I think it's pretty inevitable that he's going to have a pretty decent game.
I agree. So everybody except Alex is on the same page here. Alejandro, I took it for granted that you're choosing the Heat. Jonathan, you're choosing the Heat.
Yeah, of course.
Ricky, you're choosing the Knicks. Are you celebrating at 500 the way those Knicks fans were by the subway? And did I ask you that already? Because if I did, I'm asking you again.
No, there's nothing to celebrate. 500 is 500. Championships are what I celebrate.
That's good.
I'm realistic. Heat fans hate it, but being realistic is what makes me a Knick fan, apparently. So it's all good. I love it. I embrace it.
All good. Well, stick around. Alejandro has interviews from Eric Spoelstra and somebody that he mentioned, and now I cannot recall who it was.
Gabe Vincent.
Gabe Vincent. Thank you very much. So you can catch that right here, and then we will have obviously the live streaming that goes on throughout the game with the score, and then post-game show here, and then 5 on the Floor podcast with Ethan, Alex, and I posting overnight. Thank you for joining us. Brought to you by Biscayne Bay Brewing. Peace.
Hey, Coach, we will get started with Tim Reynolds.
Hi, Eric. Same deal as Sunday. He's just not seeing enough improvement there yet.
Making improvement, but no, we think it's best that we not play him tonight. We'll just continue to evaluate him day to day.
Is the fact that he has a chance for, if he doesn't go Thursday too, the fact that you're up against the break and he could have an extended time off, does that factor in at all?
Right now he's just day to day, and we're just monitoring his progress, and he's getting into good work with Armando, and we'll just continue to evaluate him.
And one more, the job you did on Trae in the first half, especially the other night, would you expect when he has a tendency, when he gets slowed one game, he tends to come out firing in the next. The numbers have sort of shown. Would you expect to see an aggressive Trae tonight? Thank you.
Well, there's no question about it. He even mentioned it in the press conference afterwards. That he'll be more aggressive, and it'll be those plays in between, in transition or before your defense is totally set, or early attack and different situations. We can expect a much more aggressive guy. But to be also objective about it, his teammate was going off. So it wasn't like we had this master game plan. Collins was in an incredible groove, and that was the right move to be going to him, more often than not.
Thanks, Eric.
Next, we have Ira Winderman.
Eric, the league is moving toward allowing you to use your two-way players as much as you want without limitation. How sort of liberating would that be for you guys not to have to start to count those? We were getting close to the countdown.
Yeah.
You can get as much Gabe and as much Max as you want now.
I really do we all appreciate that they see that each team is in a different place. And we felt that we've competed in this season with great honor and respect to the league. We went out in one game with 7 guys. They miraculously clear somebody, to make it 8. Otherwise, it would have been canceled. All those games now are being canceled or postponed. We never complained and never made an excuse. But we are up to, we are getting those days stacked up for our two-ways. Our two-ways are playing for us. And there are a few other teams that are in that circumstance. Other teams, it's an uneven, unpredictable year for so many teams. Not even all the teams have even in the same range of amount of games played up to this point. With all the postponements, it just makes all the sense in the world to not have to even think about that or concern yourself with days, particularly when we're playing them. It's what's fair to the teams. It's what makes the most sense and fair to the players. And we're just glad that it was seen that way, objectively, because not everybody is in the same circumstance.
Thank you.
Next, we have Will Manso.
Hey, Spo, the last 5 games in particular, defensively in the fourth quarter, you guys are up at number 1 in the league in a number of key categories. What are you noticing in particular in those fourth quarters, that money time defensively, you've been able to get to be able to close games?
There's a lot of painful moments that really served as great teaching moments and teaching points for this team. Because in some of those tough losses, 6 weeks ago, we were executing and generating the kind of looks that we wanted. We were missing some of those looks, and that's going to happen. But we had different defensive miscues, breakdowns, giving up second chance opportunities at critical times that were costing us games. And we approached that the right way instead of moaning about it, is working on it and continuing to try to get better at these areas. We've all had a lot of experience. We've been in a lot of these close games and late game situations to review, cover, go over in film session and practice the next day, et cetera. And we're not there. You never will be. You just have to continue to try to work it and collectively get better.
Next, we have Cooper Moorhead.
Yes, Bo. With Tyler, even when he was drafted, as soon as summer league, it was very clear immediately, more than just a shooter, he could do stuff on ball. The same wasn't really true for Duncan when he was drafted. He was very much start out as catch and shoot. How do you think, when you first started asking him, as you've done more this year, when you asked him to put the ball in his hands and run some pick and roll, was he comfortable with that? What was his reaction? And how do you think he's, adapted to that more on-ball role at times?
He gets it, and I think that's part of why he wanted to come here, is that there was going to be a constant evolution and push, to develop all aspects of his game. And even when he got here, he wasn't a catch and shoot player. He was a spot up 3-point shooter, and we spent so much time with him on the move and watching Wayne Ellington film, to try to create a facsimile of a lot of the stuff that Wayne did and Ray. He really spent a lot of time to develop that. Now teams are scheming against that, and pick and roll can be another way to loosen the defense up. But that's been effective for us, this year. And he's spent a lot of time, the same type of process, but just in this aspect of the game. And then once he gets better at this, it's not going to stop. There's going to be something else. And as always, Quinny is not letting up at all on Duncan in terms of his defensive development, rebounding, playing bigger in the paint, things of that.
Thank you.
Next, we have Zach Klein with ABC Atlanta.
Hey, Coach, I'm Zach with ABC. Appreciate your time and your insight. Just wondering what your reaction was to Lloyd Pierce being fired. Hawks saying they need a new voice, and your experience with Nate McMillan. What is his voice, his DNA for a McMillan-led team?
Yeah, it's one of these disappointing, moments, for the coaching profession. Look, if you spend any time with Lloyd, it doesn't take you long to figure out that he's a transformative leader. He's a character builder. He builds culture. He's got a wealth of experience as an assistant coach with great coaching staffs. I go way back with Lloyd, but if you're going to, develop a program, there's not many guys that you want, leading your group, other than Lloyd, and that's just how tough this league is. What's different from where they were after the first 3 weeks of the season when they were one of the best teams in the league? Well, what's different is they're like us. They've had an incredible amount of adversity, injuries, impactful injuries, and that matters. But the development has still been there, and the accountability. He wasn't given an opportunity to weather that storm, and that's it's a shame. That's where the coaching profession is, and we all feel it. When somebody gets let go, and I was just texting with him, 3 days ago, and talking about the birth, of his daughter. It's just a crazy time, and then Nate, he's an incredible coach and a man of honor as well, and I could see why he was, supposedly, really struggling with this, because if you spend time with Nate, you realize that he's all about the right things too. So it's just an awkward thing, but Nate is a great coach. We have great respect for him. And these teams can be, incredibly dangerous when there's a change. That for whatever reason that next game, can be a handful. So we have a lot of things that we want to accomplish. We don't want to let something like this get in the way of what we're trying to do. But we understand that it's going to, be a different kind of challenge than it was the other night in terms of energy, effort, intensity, passion. All that stuff will be, the best it's been for the Hawks tonight.
All right, that's it, Coach. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, that was Eric Spoelstra. We have the starting lineup for tonight, the same one from last game: Kendrick Nunn, Kelly Olynyk, Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, and Duncan Robinson. Kendrick Nunn, Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, and Bam Adebayo. That's the starting five for the Miami Heat tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. Let's listen now to Gabe Vincent, who talked to media today after the shoot-around.
Apologize ahead of time. Basically, when the Heat signed you and added you, I said, okay, 3-point specialist. Then I was told, no, he plays off the dribble also. There's more to his game. But I'm going to be honest. Until maybe even last game, when I got to see it up front, I never thought of you as a 94-foot defensive stopper. And then I saw some of those plays. Obviously, I didn't see all your games in the G League in college, but is that something you have done over the years and maybe something people have missed on you, or maybe the people who really knew about you?
Yeah, I think it got overlooked. I mean, everyone always looks at the point total at the end of the game, and especially in the G League, and shooting the three has always been one of my greatest skills, but I pride myself defensively as well. It's another way I see it as another way of scoring. If I can keep this guy under his average, that's like my team being up +4 or +3, whatever it may be. So I try to pride myself on the defensive end as well.
And I noticed there's some gotten in foul trouble, but Coach told us something interesting about Precious the other day. He said, just play your minutes hard. Don't worry about anything else. Is that sort of your approach also, that you don't know how many minutes it's going to be? It might be shorter stints. So just sort of go out and just every last bit of energy for whatever winds up. It seems like that's the approach you're taking.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of playing free with that. Just trying to maximize my minutes. Fouling is definitely something I'm not to do. So I get frustrated at times when I get in foul trouble trying to just be aggressive on the ball or trying to make a play. But especially this season so far, and with this unit we have right now, I've seen the defensive side of the ball where I can make the greatest impact on the game, and that's the greatest way I can impact winning right now. So I've been kind of just really focusing on that and try to maximize those minutes on that side of the ball.
Do you sometimes notice people give you glances? Just a lot of times the players who are unfamiliar with other guys that after you make a play, they sort of shoot a look like, who the heck is that guy? Like, have you noticed any of that people maybe didn't know who you were before, but now sort of are paying attention? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of earning respect, and especially, there's guys in this league that are known, and everyone kind of knows what to do, and then there's others that aren't. And there's a level of respect you have to earn to, they have the scouting report with the coaches have written down, but it's different when you're out there playing with the guy to see his tendencies up close, to kind of see who he is as a competitor. And I think in that regard, you earn your respect on the court with your production.
Thank you, Gabe.
Next we have Anthony Chang.
Hey, Gabe. Like Ira was saying, at first I think you pegged as a three-point shooter, and then you were used on the ball earlier this season a lot, when guys were out, and now you're showing, how good of a defender you can be. How much of that is you just trying to find ways to make coach play you, like different ways, different things you can bring to the court, and trying to make them give you minutes and consistent minutes each game with your on-court play?
Yeah, I think it's a huge piece of it. One thing, like Ira was saying, I'm seeing a lot of times as a three-point specialist, a marksman. But, I've always thought there was more to my game. I think I can play off the bounce. I think I can defend. I'm just in a position now where it's something different every night that may be needed. Sometimes it may be picking up 9-4. Sometimes I may be a 3-and-D guy. And sometimes we might have guys out, I may be on the ball, handling pick and roll and getting guys involved. So a lot of it is filling the void and just trying to impact wins.
Is there a perimeter defender you like to watch, what they do and watch film of in specific, or is it a bunch of guys that you look at?
It's a bunch of them for sure, but one of them's in our locker room now, Avery Bradley. The past couple summers I've been watching his film, and then especially this past year I've been watching his film, breaking it down with the coaches and trying to and now that he's here, breaking it down with him and just trying to pick his brain as much as possible. But there's a few people over the last few years I've been watching defensively that I appreciate.
How much joy did Avery get from your defense against Rajon last game and that strip you had? What was the feedback you got from Avery?
He was loving it. He was loving it. After my first steal, he had just told me before that, go get a steal, G. And then I got one, and after that he said, I need another one. And that's when I got the one on Rondo, and then full court pass to Dre. So he was pretty excited about that, and definitely just trying to continue to pick his ear, and pick his brain and just try to grow on that side of the ball.
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Barry Jackson.
I'm good, Nick. All of my questions were just asked.
Perfect. All right, next we'll go to Cristo Saltas.
Hello, Gabe. I'd like to ask you, what is the biggest progression of your game through the season, through the game so far, and how big is the impact of Jimmy Butler to you on and off the court?
Greatest impact for me, I think there's just a level of comfortability. Being around the game this past season, being in the bubble, going that long stretch to the finals, you just get a different feel for the game, seeing it up close. And then obviously this year we've had opportunity to get a lot more minutes with guys being out and whatever the case may be. So gaining that experience, I think the game just kind of slowed down a little bit. And I've tried to just pick up my pressure defensively and impact on that side of the ball. So I think my defense is really showing my greatest growth at this point.
All right, that's it. Thank you, Gabe.
Thank you.
All right, that was Gabe Vincent earlier today, and now let's listen to some of the guys that talked a couple of nights ago after beating the Atlanta Hawks. But first, the starting lineup: Kendrick Nunn, Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, and Bam Adebayo. That's the starting 5 for the Miami Heat tonight. Let's go ahead and listen to our friend Bam Adebayo from a couple of nights ago when they beat the Atlanta Hawks 109-99. Let's start with Bam Adebayo.
And Bam, we'll get started with Ira Winterman.
Bam, how important was it to sort of show that, hey, Jimmy, you take whatever time you need. You've closed for us plenty. We got it for you this time. How important was it to basically close without your closer?
Great. I mean, we won the game, so good.
All right. Beyond that, just the fact that so many different guys stepped up, that, it wasn't just one guy who felt it was on his shoulder. It was Goran making a shot. It was Kendrick making the three. It was you stepping forward, getting it done. Tyler scoring 12 late. That sort of everyone said, hey, me too. We can get this done collectively.
Yeah, that's how it always is, man. There's 5 guys on the court for a reason. It's not just one person. But just having that type of firepower and, everybody's finding the cohesiveness and feeding off of each other, it just makes us a better basketball team.
Does this say something? Would this be the kind of game that you could have done this maybe earlier in the season when there wasn't as much confidence in guys playing together? Do really do it on both ends, including what you guys did against Trae Young with your scheme against him. Does this sort of another example of the team coalescing?
Yeah, I feel like we're finding our stride. We're starting to really play some Miami Heat basketball. So that's the biggest thing for us, that we're playing together. We're making multiple efforts, and we're getting it done on both sides of the ball.
And then, buddy, in the power rotation, just how significant was it that Precious can come in and give in such impactful minutes, allowing you to basically rest without having to be rushed back in and conserve yourself late in the game? How significant was what Precious offered tonight? Thank you.
Man, I'm proud of my young fella. I call him my little brother for a reason, but that's how it's supposed to be. I walk up court, he walk on. It's the same amount of energy, same amount of intensity, and he played to that level that I wanted him to play to tonight. And I must keep being in his ear and keep building. That's what it's all about. It's kind of weird. We're in this phase of OG is kind of like my vet and Precious, but UD want me to be his vet. So I don't know how that works along the tree, but
Circle of life.
that's kind of how it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Up next, we have Barry Jackson.
Bam, you got back to 500 tonight after being 7 under. Had you thought at all about getting back to 500 during these past few weeks? Is this a point that you would aim toward as sort of a jumping off point?
Our main goal was basically, getting above 500, and we just gotta stay the course and keep playing these W's.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cooper Moorhead.
Hey, Bam, this was not Duncan's shooting night, but when Atlanta was making a run with about 6 minutes to go, he did make that backdoor read for the layup. That seemed pretty important at the time. Obviously, a few weeks ago, you said he wasn't getting the shots. Defenses aren't letting him, and you guys run what you were doing last year. How have you seen him react since then and adjust and make new reads so that on a night like tonight, even when he's not shooting that great, he can make an impact with a play like that?
It's Duncan has a level head, and he's never too high, never too low, and he works himself to death. And his work ethic, he's watching film, he's trying to figure out better ways to where he can easy basket. So, like the play you said, we kind of feed off of each other. I'm always looking for Duncan, him and Jimmy, just to get them going early. So, like you said, it's 11-11. Make a wish, by the way. But, damn it, never mind. It's 11-12. But on this clock thing, it says 11-11. But yeah, we feed off of each other. So he knows I'm looking for him. So if he cuts and he's open, I'm going to pass him. So I'm proud of it. Even though he had a bad shooting night, he still, like you said, makes impactful plays. He was getting deflections. With Duncan, you can't always look at that final number. All of us do that. All of us can be impactful without that final number being a certain number that everybody wants.
Next, we have Christos Saltas.
Oh, Bam.
Bro,
Congratulations on the
you
win.
need some sleep, my guy. Like,
I,
you need some sleep, man.
I will sleep after like.
Okay. I ain't gonna say that to you.
Okay, I would like to ask you, you mentioned you want to be a better basketball team. How better basketball team you feel right now after 6 straight wins? And also, how important for the flow of your team is to have Tyler back on the court?
Yeah, basketball team, we're playing together, we're making the right plays, and we're reading each other right. So that's kind of how we're doing it. And we're playing to the level of the standard that coach wants us to play at, and hence why we have 6 wins in a row. So we got to keep building, keep grinding, keep standing on our schemes. And what was your second question?
About Tyler, how important for the flow of your game?
Oh, Tyler gonna be Tyler. He gonna get himself. He ain't got to worry about that.
Thank you.
Next we have Mateo Mayorga.
Hey, Bam. On occasions like tonight, when Jimmy isn't playing, how important is it for you to play at a higher level?
Very important. We're missing our second all-star. That's why I came out the game so aggressive, trying to get us in the flow. Once we got in the flow and everybody started feeling it, that's when, I can make those plays and teams overhelp, and I can make easy passes to my teammates.
All right, Bam, that's it. Thank you.
Likewise, Martin.
We'll get started with Ironman.
Goran, what does it mean to this team or say about this team that your closer wasn't there and you guys still found a way at closing time to get it done?
A lot. We don't use excuses. This is first of all, and even last year we did it. We've been in this situation quite many times. Everybody can play in this team. We just need to, put a solid effort and defensive stops, and I think so. We did it. They scored only 99 points, and of course we missed Jimmy, but it was a huge win for us, and hopefully he will be back next game.
Usually in this league, you play a team, you shut down their leading man. This time Trae Young was 3 of 14, and you sort of walk away and let them marinate on it for a while. Instead, you come back and you're playing them again on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And the one thing, we saw this last year, remember, with Trae, and he came back and had his moment. How much do you have to be on guard when you have this kind of situation, when a superstar has an off night, to know that 48 hours later, boom, he's going to get another chance?
It's important, if I'm honest, this season we lost against Milwaukee and we had a next game against them and we won. So, you have this in your mind, you wanna win next game, and definitely he's gonna come out to play, to be more aggressive, and it's not gonna be the same game. So definitely we need to be more focused, play our, better game than tonight. And like I said, next game is going to be totally different.
Well, then let me turn it around. Then you got a guy like John Collins, who was unstoppable there in the third quarter and really the second quarter also. So how important is it for you guys to go over the tape in the next 24 hours and sort of make sure that he's not dominating like he was in tonight's third quarter?
He was making shots, mid-range shots, especially when we play zone. So we kind of want that, but if the guy is making it, then of course it looks bad. But we tried to shut down Trae Young. We did it, and of course, other guys, they're gonna have a little bit more space to operate, and Collins did that tonight. But definitely, we're gonna watch film and try to be more prepared and try to do a better job.
So you told Jimmy he can take Tuesday off also?
Excuse me?
You told Jim he can take Tuesday off also now that you won?
No, man, we need him back. No days off here. No excuses. We go on. So
Thank you, Goran.
Thank you.
All right, Jim, we got one from Sebastian with Pop TV.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sebastian.
He's sleeping, man. What time is 5:30 in the morning out there?
All right, his line's unmuted. He muted himself, but doesn't look like he's gonna go. So I guess you're done. Thank you, G.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us in today's pregame show. We're gonna close up with Kendrick Nunn. After we see the starting lineup, it's Kendrick Nunn, Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick, and Bam Adebayo. This is the lineup Miami Heat used a couple of nights ago to beat the Atlanta Hawks 109-99. So let's go ahead and close this pregame show with Kendrick Nunn, one of the heroes of a couple of nights against the Hawks. All right, so let's go and listen to him. That's really short, and then we'll be out of the game's about to start here in 10 minutes.
Kendrick will get started shortly. And we'll start with Ira Winman.
Hey, Kendrick. Obviously, this season, sort of closing time has been Jimmy time. And then tonight, Jimmy wasn't there. You stepped up, Goran stepped up, Bam stepped up, Tyler stepped up. How important was it for you guys to show that, hey, even without Jimmy, we still have closers here? Game got tied. They got up by 1. There's still a way for us to put it away.
Yeah, that was a big time game for us. We moved in took a step in the right direction with the guys out again. Took a collective team effort to get this win. We got some stops, some big stops, some big buckets when we needed them, and it was a good win.
How nice is it with Jimmy looking on after all he's done for you guys, really dating back to the playoffs, that you guys could sort of tell him, hey, you take off whatever time you need. We got this one for you.
Yeah, Jimmy trusts us. He believes in us. We can get the job done with the guys we have on this team. Just coming together, playing for each other, making inspiring plays, and just making plays, just flat out making plays. That's what it came down to.
Thank you, Kendrick.
Next, we'll have Tim Reynolds.
Hi, Kendrick. The job all of you included, of course, did defensively on Trey. How pleasing was that? And how well do you think you executed the plan against him?
We executed it pretty well. Stuck to the game plan, and we definitely will see a different Trey next game, but I'll be locked in again and getting that job done.
Thank you, Kendrick.
Next, we have Barry Jackson.
Hi, Kendrick. Not only have you obviously recaptured what you had last season, but you're an even better player now, it seems. In what areas are you most proud of where specifically you've improved over a year ago?
Just my preparation is definitely different. I think in depth, my poise to the game, just reading the game and being able to make plays in the clutch moments and knocking down shots. My overall game, I always look at my game overall and not just try to pinpoint one specific thing. I try to get better on both ends of the floor.
Thank you.
Next, we have Crystal Saltas.
Hello, Kendrick. Congratulations on the win.
Thank
How
you.
big was the responsibility for you to make a step up in tonight's game without Jimmy Butler? And also, how good for the team and the flow of your team was to have Tyler Hero back on the court?
Yeah, like I said, it was huge for us to be able to step up and get this win without Jimmy on the floor. And we glad to have Tyler back, Goran back, and the guys just back healthy. I'm glad to see him out there on the floor playing well. Tyler came in huge for us in the fourth. He got activated, so that was big. That was pretty big for us. We needed him in that moment.
All right, that's it. Thank you, Kendrick.
Yep.
All right, that's it for us as well. Thank you very much for being here today in the pregame show. As usual, remember, we're going to be back for the postgame show as soon as the game's over from American Airlines Arena. Atlanta Hawks and Miami Heat facing each other for the second night in a row. The Heat trying to get 7 wins in a row and trying to get over 500 for the first time in a long time this season. So thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be back, as I said, right after the game with more Miami Heat content for you guys. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.